This is Ben Garant, and you're watching Comedy Matters TV.
No, but these are big priorities, and it's interesting. Like that guy sold the movie rights of him and his dog going what for a lot.
Yeah, for a lot of money.
It's interesting. So
it's true. Like if it gets a lot of hits, and if it's something interesting and weird, people are looking for anything that is exciting and has some kind of a voice. And
out of curiosity, how many of you are screenwriters or aspiring screenwriters? Probably most, if not all, almost every single person. How many people are in film school? So you're rich.
I mean, are people in the middle of screenplays as we speak? Like people have started? Mm-hmm. Cool. Awesome. So we'll get to your questions because we're the opposite school of the McKee sit and you know crack your story. And do you want this story to be something you could live with for 10 years? Can you slave on this at your desk every day for 10 years?
We're more about like
get it done, right?
Yeah, finish it.
Finish it.
Yeah. An unfinished screenplay is nothing.
Yeah. We're very much.
And then finish a second and a third and a fourth one. Because to get one movie made, I honestly believe to get one film made, you must write about 10.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just the way it works.
Yeah.
And also, you guys have written. You talk about Herbie Fully Loaded.
Woo!
A lot.
Let's please talk about
24 drafts. You said, right?
No, after we got fired.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we went in. We always start out, no matter how crappy something turns out, we have really good intentions.
Yeah.
It's always the best.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
We have fairly good intentions. For Herbie Fully Loaded, we went in and we said, well, what if we did like a Shakespearean thing about a girl who wants to street race in a family of like, in a racing family.
Of like a Jeff Gore, like a Dale Earnhardt
super macho family.
And what if there's a daughter who's better than Dale Earnhardt Jr., but at the time there weren't any women in NASCAR at all.
Right.
So she was really skilled, so she had to go into street racing just to race.
So she like
her parents
hides her identity and sort of pretends to be a guy to get into the world of street racing.
And then it turned into like As You Like It. It turned into like a Shakespeare
thing. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Then cut to, we sell it to Disney. They love that pitch. It's amazing, brilliant. First draft, they love it. Pleased.
Greenlit off the first draft, and Lindsay Lohan pay or play off the very first draft.
This is fantastic. And this is right when that mattered.
Yeah.
This is before like ankle bracelets.
Yes.
And just like piles of blow.
Yeah, it was like,
I should point out, on many pages of the book, we talk about the untimely death of Lindsay Lohan. We were ready in case that happened. And then we had to add footnotes that it hasn't happened yet.
So we turned it in, and the president of the studio loved it and said, yes, we're doing this. We had one note, and the note was that it was too sexy for a Disney movie. We had like Red Bull girls.
And so kind of street racing. There was a little
like
boner vibe.
Yeah, there's a little like that kind of stuff.
They're like, just take the boner out of it.
We're like, okay, we get it. Yeah. And then another executive was assigned to the project because the president of the studio was doing 30 other movies at the time, and the executive assigned to the project didn't understand the movie at all. Like really didn't get it, and really wanted to make it the opposite of what we were trying to do. Wanted to make it a really stupid.
So Herbie wins the race, and then what he does is he looks over at her and he's gonna smile. He's gonna look at her and smile.
And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like he's gonna he's liquid metal?
Yeah.
Is he Robert Patrick?
Yeah.
T-1000?
Yeah.
So that's horrifying.
Yeah, we were like, if he can do that, then there's no risk. I mean, then he can undent himself. Then he can
turn into a fucking transfer.
Yeah. And that was the last note that we quit. But the first notes were
I quit. Got fired.
Got fired.
Yeah. We took the mile high ground, but still we would have stayed on the job.
But that was the one we wouldn't do. We wouldn't make it smile. The first one was this woman didn't like people to eat outside.
She thought it was gross.
She thought it was gross.
Here's the thing. You'll be working on a screenplay for a long time. You'll be like, oh my god, you'll stay up all night. You'll be like, is the motivation, is Act 2, does the engine keep going? And is the twist big enough?
Do I buy this love story even though they haven't had that much of a conversation?
And then is the payoff
I don't like it when they eat outside.
And then
Can they
that's
not eat outside?
Yeah.
Why are they eating outside? That's gross.
And these notes aren't coming from Lindsay Lohan or Lindsay Lohan's people,
I don't
the
think
other actors.
I don't think she's reading the script.
I don't think so.
You know what I'm saying? They're not coming from the star, the director. They're coming from executives.
On this one, it was an executive.
Well, this is
Yeah.
a big important point we make in the book is watch out for like the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
dangerous.
the middle will kill you.
Yeah.
Of like movie executives and stuff. The top is usually pretty smart, and then the bottom has a bunch of up and coming people who are going to be the top at some point, and then the middle's just these weird people clinging to.
They're underminers.
Yeah,
They think a lot of them are the smart ones realize that they have to agree with their boss and make what their boss thinks better.
Yeah.
The dumb ones are trying to undermine their boss and do something different so that they make a standout decision, and they're
Right.
dangerous people.
If you mess up at a studio, they fire you and they make you a producer with a deal at that studio.
Yes. Yeah.
So your punishment is that you get to be a movie producer.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's absolutely
Yeah.
how it works.
Yeah. Which I wouldn't wish
Yeah.
on anybody.
If they hate your guts, they're like, you know what? We're getting a huge producing deal on this lot. You just have to move to a slightly different office.
So after we refused to make Herbie smile and were fired, they had 24 other writers and teams of writers working on that film before it
I
came out.
still have the title
24.
page.
Yeah.
At the end, before you go into an arbitration, when the movie's done, they send you the final script with everybody's names on the front page who worked on it, and sometimes that takes 2 pages.
2 pages of writers.
I was just
after
like,
that.
what? Who, those guys?
Boom, boom,
And
boom,
you'll
boom,
see
boom.
the names of friends,
Yeah.
enemies.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow. And you never knew anything about this because you've been fired.
Yeah.
But in fairness, some of that movie was a lot like we wrote it.
The Derby, the Crash Up Derby was sort of what we wrote. That's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Did you guys end up with sole credit?
No, we split that 5 ways.
Oh, okay.
ways.
My mistake.
Yeah.
My
With
mistake.
some,
I think I
uh,
saw the first poster for the movie.
No. That
First
was
poster
had 5 names
had
on
5
it,
names on it,
which was
yeah.
interesting because it's there's some politics there.
But you said before about, for every movie that gets produced, you have to write 10. And
About, I think.
About.
in the book,
And that's when you're working. I mean, that's not even talking about
Sure.
specs. That's
Yeah.
like for every movie that gets made, we've probably sold 10 that have gone into
Wow.
the system
That have gone
and
nowhere.
stopped, at some point.
Yeah.
So it's a high volume business.
The what gets through the filter is tough.
Yeah.
But we talk about that a lot in the book.
Yeah, and also in the book, at the end of the book, you guys talk about some unproduced screenplays, or it's just some generic ideas, including the unmade Reno 911 sequel.
We cover in the book a lot. Never talk about sequels ever.
It's bad luck.
It's the worst jinx in the world.
Yeah.
There's a chapter on it because we talked about sequels on so many movies that we wrote.
Yeah.
We stood in the lobby at the premiere of Herbie Fully Loaded.
Yeah.
Talking with Nina Jacobson about
Herbie Goes to
Herbie
Tokyo.
2.
Tokyo.
And it was going to be in Tokyo. It was going to be like
Yeah.
like those cool what do they call those
those
cars?
nitrous
The
cars,
They got
yeah.
nitrogen in it or whatever. Nitrous
Yeah, it's gonna be,
oxide.
yeah.
and-
Gifting.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be called Herbie Tokyo Nights.
And
We're
I think
standing-
she'd
there's a real
already
conversation that we
talked to
had.
Toyota.
Oh,
She'd
she was
already
psyched.
talked to like the company.
We were all
so
psyched.
there could be like a love
We're all just
story.
we're doing this, right? This
yeah.
is like people on cocaine. We're just like, oh my god, this is real. Let's do this.
And then it
And then
opened.
literally, like the next day, it's like, just don't never speak of this again.
The biggest, I think, at the time, and maybe the biggest deal we ever made was for Taxi 2.
Remember your favorite movie ever with Jimmy Fallon and Queen Latifah? That movie? We signed a deal for that so big. They
Yeah.
tested it. Every movie, once it's as they finish the editing process, they usually test it 1 to 3 times, where they take it to like a mall.
Yeah, in Orange County.
And they show it to an audience.
Yeah.
and they
Usually in the
record
middle of
their
the
laughter.
weekday, so it's
Yeah.
a bunch of unemployed people.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. We sometimes, and then they give you notes back on it, like scores and things like that. Films that we've written, we frequently get back in just a drawing of a dick. in the notes.
Yeah.
And it's weird that it comes
Many
up.
times.
Like, how often can this come up? We're just going through like, okay, I didn't buy the love story. I hated the main character. Great. Okay.
Dick.
Picture of a dick. Picture of a dick. All right. Like, it comes up a lot.
Yeah.
So they test the movie.
People were doing the wave.
Oh, it
People
tested through the
loved
roof.
Taxi. Like,
Oh, tested so high.
Yeah, and
It's
it
like
ended Jimmy Fallon's film career.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The producer fled the country.
Yes.
This was coming out.
Yeah.
We tried to like call him to see what was going on. His secretary was like, "No, he's gone."
Yeah. He said sometimes on Monday morning you're a little radioactive when one of these things happen. Just keep your head down.
Radioactive was the expression.
Like,
so
all right, great.
we're like, wow, we signed a deal. So we never speak of sequels again, ever. And the Reno movie, which was actually a financial success,
But not enough.
but not quite enough to make the sequel they had already paid us for, called Reno SOS.
Yeah.
Which is also the whole script's in the book, back of the book.
And I mean, I guess there's some talk now of Reno returning to TV.
People have been asking about it. Yeah, we don't know if it's an amazing idea or a horrible idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've sort of said if we were to do like a Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah. like a BBC, like 6 and out,
Right.
and bring back everybody, bring back Rami and Garcia, and like pick like a story.
That would be interesting.
I
And
don't know.
the only idea I have for it is we find Terry Bernardino, the roller skating street hustler,
in a plastic bag.
wrapped up in plastic, down by the river, and he's got some weird thing under his nail, and then we go from there.
And then we had spoiler alert on the series that will probably never happen.
That we're not doing, probably not doing.
I think Kyle MacLachlan is also in it. And he's talking to Dangle and helping him through the case. And then at the end, spoiler alert, it's just he's on a weird Canadian cold medicine.
Yeah.
And nobody else can see Kyle MacLachlan.
And maybe there was no murder.
Yeah, maybe there was.
So spoiler. I guess we are doing it.
I don't know. Now that I say it out loud.
It actually is a pretty good idea.
Well, I mean, you heard the feedback.
It's as good an idea as we ever did.
Oh, that's true.
Which is like,
Yeah, sure.
pretty B+.
I bet we could get Kyle MacLachlan.
C+, B-.
Yeah.
But that you seem to have you seem to have more freedom on the show and on television. And I guess too on the Reno feature. And you know, freedom is something that's obviously for a lot of comedy writers. That's a big thing. Is to be able to use, express themselves, their own voice, and anybody who gets in the way of that voice is an idiot.
Committees make things unfunny.
Committees tend to make things not that funny. Specificity is usually the way to make something funnier. I mean, for us, the real trick is, because our whole past is just sketch writing. And we took sketch writing. When we were in the State, there were almost like fist fights and stuff. We were so
over jokes,
serious and so like obsessive and so unwilling to ever do something that we felt like had been done before.
Yeah, that
which
was
is
the
why
State.
a lot of the State seems like it's like kind of like jazz.
We'd rather do something. We'd rather have the piece end with nonsense than a punchline that one of us felt was even vaguely similar to a punchline we'd seen in anything.
That's somebody done before. So and then we've had a long, interesting transition of take a very sort of punk rock comedy attitude and write giant studio tentpole movies and try to keep some of your sense of humor in that. And that's the game. The game is how keep as much of your comedy integrity while
fitting it into an idea that everybody in the world will understand,
even in other languages.
Even in other languages,
when it's translated into Japanese, they will still love this.
Yeah. With Reno,
which is kind of weird.
Yeah, Reno was so cheap that people let us do anything we wanted to do. Like in the first season of Reno, I think the budget was like $270,000 an episode, and by the end it was $560 an episode. Like really
very
cheap,
inexpensive,
very inexpensive. Like and what's interesting is now in movies, every studio has what they're calling a micro budget division, which
this is a cool new thing, and this is something that you guys, especially if you're an up and coming screenwriter, it's something to take note of, because there are places now to get movies, especially if they're in the $1 to $3 million.
$1 to $3 million, because in a studio, $1 to $3 million is nothing. Like you can spend, like literally, people will tell us if your budget is $3 million or under, I don't even have to get it approved. Like we can just make this movie
if it's in certain kinds of genres.
Yeah,
if it's like
little horror movie,
if it's a comedy, if it's the kind of movie that has a, obviously that. There needs to be some upside for them.
The theory is, and it used to be the way all Hollywood worked, is rather than make $100 million movie, let's make $23 million movies and hope one of them is Paranormal Activity. Let's do that, which is new, and it's old Hollywood. But like for a while, it's been drifting into these movies that the budget is $200 million. and it has to play in
Everywhere in
countries
the
that
world.
don't speak English. Like it has to be like it has to look like Gulliver's Travels or Thor, so that even people
For
who
us-
don't understand our culture get, oh, that guy can fly and he has
This
a
is
hammer.
this is
you
a
know?
big thing. If you're writing, it's weird, but if you're writing a big studio movie, and we have a chapter on this, it absolutely must play everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's the reason, for example, there aren't really Christmas movies that much anymore.
Weird. We
It's-
sat down with the
there's-
head of Warner Brothers a
Yeah.
couple of years ago, and he explained to us why they don't make Christmas movies
it's like,
anymore.
It's not. the
And it was
world
like a
doesn't
scene
care.
out of a great Christmas movie. You
Yeah.
know, it was just like he was just explaining that like here's and he had like a map, and he was like, they have Christmas here, they have Christmas here, they don't have Christmas here,
Everywhere, yeah.
they don't have Christmas here,
Yeah.
and we're like,
Okay.
all right,
That's a bummer.
that's a bummer.
And a movie like Night at the Museum, I think, is a perfect example because
Perfect. Guy gets chased by a dinosaur.
Yeah.
That translates everywhere.
yeah,
Translates everything.
Yeah. Monkey slapping is like
We get it.
we get it.
I've seen
Everybody
monkey
gets
before.
that.
Yeah.
But also too, I mean, did they come to you and say, you know, Teddy Roosevelt's in this movie? Not everybody knows who Teddy Roosevelt. They don't know who he is in Africa. They don't know who he is.
Yeah, I don't know if it matters that much because he's got a funny mustache.
He's a pretty funny mustache. And that's why he put Mork in there, because everybody knows who Mork is. You know?
But there certainly is. I mean, you do. It's a bigger deal, and you kind of forget about it till you get to the studio, and they're like, "Yeah, sure, but like, you know, really, how does this movie's gonna play in Russia?
Yeah.
You know, like which is now a real new market for movies.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of wasn't
China,
there
too.
before, and China.
Yeah.
It's interesting, yeah. But I mean, it's drifted into this thing, and so now the studios, I think, are scrambling because they can't only survive on these you know Green Lanterns, on these like $250 million budget movie, and so they're creating this like new division of films. Which
They
are
need
these
some
little
hits
tiny
that didn't
things.
cost $200 million. They
Yeah,
really do.
yeah, it's kind of exciting.
It's
It's
interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
And as soon as one of those comedies makes a lot of money, like that'll be a real legitimate like business in Hollywood again.